Welcome to Let's Talk Boobs. This is our episode on dating apps called Swipe Left. We have our cocktails again. Our cocktail that everybody knows about is the Flirtini. However, I have yet to unpack my bar glasses, so we're using a champagne flute and improvising. That one is 1 ounce of champagne, a ½ ounce of Cointreau, triple sec, whatever kind of orange flavored liqueur you have, and then an ounce of... It is really good. And an ounce of vodka. We doubled the recipe because it fills the champagne flute with the...
That's why.
Well, I was like, it's a really small for a martini, so I was like, let's double it. Our custom cocktail is called Plenty of Fish, and we actually made it 3 different ways because there's plenty of ways to make it since there's plenty of fish in the sea. This one is made with 2 ounces of... what do we do? Oh, 2 ounces of Hornitos, because if you're on dating apps, I'm sure you get a little horny. Then we have an ounce of triple sec, and we have an ounce of X-rated, the pink version. I've also put, I mixed it with, Heine's over here has pineapple juice and orange juice. Mine has just orange juice, and Side Boobs has just pineapple. We've also garnished it with mystery night crawlers and Swedish fish. So you can try it any way that you'd like. I've also put the recipe out on the web, and you can try it out, and hopefully you're joining in the fun with us again. So let's get right into it. So we're talking about Side Boob over here has been, looking at Craigslist and looking at fun ads on Craigslist. We'll dive into the dating apps a little bit later, but we thought we'd share some fun, ads that you've seen on there and the different types of things that people are asking for. And just you go ahead.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the cheers, of course.
Oh.
There's so many Swedish fish at the bottom of this.
I've got like 1 of each.
I couldn't get mine to stay on the glass, so I just kept putting them in.
Well, it actually made the picture look really cool because it was like one that's filled, one has a worm poking out, and then yours you couldn't see anything. So I'm like, you can just have it garnished however you'd like.
You can't see anything.
That's
not visible from there.
Your nipples are.
Well, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. It's still wintertime, I think.
So here's to me, here's to Lube, here's to you on Let's Talk Boobs.
Cheers.
So tell us, Side Boob, what interesting, fun ads have you seen?
So I was trying to find where on Craigslist all of these would be, because I was like, there has to be a raunchy section of Craigslist. There's no way there isn't. And I found the missed connections, and I think that's where the good stuff is. So far, they're mostly just missed connections, but they're already kind of funny because I cannot imagine myself like seeing somebody at the supermarket and being like, maybe they'll check the Craigslist mixed connections. Like, I just don't. It doesn't seem like a very efficient way to do things.
If there's anybody out there that this has worked for,
I want to know about it.
Please write in the comments, or message us. Anything, message us on Facebook. It's fine.
Goodness.
However, didn't you just get done telling us a story that you responded to one of these?
Not on Craigslist. I think that I am not opposed to misconnections. I think it's a great concept. Like, I think that used to be a newspaper thing at some point, right?
Absolutely. It was in the classified section.
This is more your time.
It was in the classified. which honestly, in the dating app thing, I was so late to that because of that. It wasn't something that was on my radar because I think I'm of the generation that a lot of the people, when they started coming out, were going, why do you need a dating app when you can just go out and meet people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how when they first came out, they were kind of shunned. Like, the only people that were using dating apps who figured were people who couldn't go out and get a date.
Yeah.
And so I think that's changed completely.
Well, I think what's funny about it is most of them are like, I see you every week at the Kroger. Like, if you see this woman every week at the Kroger, go talk to her. Go say hi. She's probably not looking on the missed connections on Craigslist.
Because it's not creepy that you would find them on the missed. Like, I just keep posting every week, and I don't know why she doesn't
And what are the
see it.
chances that she's like desperate enough where she's like, oh, I hope that this person who's seen me every week, A, stop stalking me, or B, maybe I can be like, message them back and be like, stop stalking me, please.
But isn't there a song too? Is it about misconnections, where there's a songwriter who writes a song about misconnection, and he actually runs into the person that he was seeing at the time. Like he puts a misconnection out there, and there's somebody else. I can't remember the name of the
I
song,
feel like
but
I've
it's
heard
something in the 60s or 70s.
Oh,
Like,
I feel like
if anybody knows, if anybody's watching, post to the site what it is, because it's famous. There's a hook to the song that's I want to say
I
it's some
just
kind of
recently
drink
heard
or
about
something.
this. Like
Pina colada. She likes pina colada. The
No.
pina colada song. I think.
I think we'd have to hear
No.
the whole song.
she likes
No,
pina
yeah.
coladas.
Yeah.
Continuing.
And
and dancing in the rain. Something
yeah,
like
and
that.
dancing in the rain.
That's the misconnection. That's what he's looking for. That's the song.
That's the song?
That's
Really?
what the song is about?
Absolutely.
I thought he just liked pina coladas.
Look
No,
up the-
she likes pina coladas.
Look up the pina colada song.
So
Or after,
well,
let's go back to the Craigslist thing, and then we'll go back to
well, I was
let-
gonna ask about Side Boob's story about how she actually responded to one of these.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So there was this thing. I don't know if it's still a thing or if it ever was in other social circles, but it was a big thing on college campuses for a couple of years. It's called Yik Yak, and it's basically like a misconnections app. It ended up being used for a lot of horrible things, and like people bullied people on it, and it was like not great. But one time I was reading it, and I was just like reading through the Yik Yaks, and there was one, and it was like, I saw you at the gym, like you got mad on the treadmill and threw your water bottle, and I was like, oh, that was definitely me. Because I don't like to exercise. Yeah, and it totally worked. And I was like, you know what? If you thought that was funny, we'd probably get along.
I would absolutely think that's funny.
Yeah, and I ended up like messaging it, and we like went on a date, and it was super fun. So,
Nice.
I'm like all for the misconnection things, but what I think is even funnier is most of these are like, they're not actually misconnections. They're like people putting out ads for themselves. This is my favorite one so
That's more
far.
like back page ads.
I was like, please do share.
The title is Scream Mask and Iguana. They start off, I've always been terrified of the movie Scream and iguanas, but I am finally going to face my fears. I would like someone to wear a Scream mask and force me to hold an adult iguana at the same time. I can provide both of these things. I would also like you to be kind of nice to me when wearing the mask by saying I'm here to help. Fair enough. I plan on recording this on video so I can rewatch until the fear is gone forever. I can give you a brand new beanie or a $10 Oh Charlie's gift card. I also have rare DVDs. Hit me up, thanks.
Should we
I
respond?
also have what?
Rare DVDs. And I'm curious.
Now,
Is
Let's
this
respond and
completely
ask him.
non-sexual? Because when I first read it, I was like, this dude's just really scared of iguanas and doesn't have a lot of friends. But now I'm
Well,
like,
if he has rare DVDs, does he just pick a different rare animal each time and then just makes these videos and is like, and if you're scared of something, I've actually made these videos. And
Yeah.
if you want to rewatch it over and over again until
I
the
just wanna
fear
be
is
like,
gone.
I think you should be more direct, man. Like, I don't know
And how many
if you need all these
DVDs are that
iguanas.
rare?
And
Like how much could a rare DVD be worth at this point?
more than a brand new beanie or a $10 Charlie's gift card.
Oh my god. So okay, that one's a little different. But didn't you find some that were like looking for straight man glory hole or
Yeah, there's definitely some on here that I'm like, I think a different platform would be better for you. This one is just a big wood metaphor. Need my hardwood polished. 58, 5'10". Wood still gets hard. Needing a good woodworker for ongoing polishing. Must live close to Lewisburg. Can host during the day or some nights. Please be for real. Thank you.
I like the
that one's
creative.
yours,
I like
isn't
it.
it?
I was like,
Creative.
okay.
I could use a good hardwood polish.
You really committed to that metaphor. Oh man. All
right.
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
whole bunch. Oh, there's one that is just a guy who wants to talk to someone about coronavirus. He said, anyone else freaking out? How are you preparing? Are you just carrying on your regular outings, etc.? No one to talk to about the coronavirus. Let me know.
Lonely and possible sick.
And to you I say,
Signed.
let's get you on Tinder, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we got this.
Yeah, you can just put that in there. Want to talk about the concern of the coronavirus. And then I would swipe right.
Wait. So for the camera, that way? So for us, that
on
way?
your app, you swipe right. So anyways, so we have, there's like different dating apps, which I've never really like looked into, like Christian Mingle or Farmers Only or, but there are like
2 of my favorites.
what?
What about Christian Farmers Mingles Only?
Is there an entrance exam?
So, I've actually met people who have gotten married from eHarmony and things like that.
Yeah.
Like that take the whole huge questionnaire, and the algorithm apparently works for them. But then I've met people who have gone on eHarmony and they've only matched with like 2 people, and then it just turned into awkwardness, and it doesn't work that way either. But it just sounds like dating in general.
I attempted one of those, but actually the questionnaire was so long I just gave up.
Yeah,
I was like, this
it's
is
like
too much.
200 questions or
Right,
something.
It was like, all right, phase 1 is over. Phase 2, I'm like, Jesus. No, I get it, but your algorithm has to be somewhat sophisticated. I shouldn't have to give you like every single thing about me.
Well,
And
maybe
plus,
they're trying to find like your one mate, you know, for
Really?
life.
Perfect match.
Yeah.
Me too.
Or any mate for you. Can you just do I love all on the questionnaire? Yes to all things.
Yes.
But
Not picky, drop me a line. Something like that.
No iguanas, please.
I will take the scream mask though.
Maybe we double team the guy and I'll go for the iguana and you get the scream mask.
But we have to be nice.
And
we have to be considerate.
I'll take him to therapy later.
Side boob gets a beanie.
And you get the $10 Charlie's gift card and you get the rare video. Yes, that sounds like a plan.
It might be a foursome with an iguana beanie.
No to bestiality in this part of the room.
Yeah, no. It's no for me too.
Well, and you know, Tinder is so different now from when it first came out. Like Grindr and Tinder were just specifically for fucking, and just like you just meet up with a person and you fuck, and that's that. But now, I mean, if I do that, like I at least need to ask some questions and get to know you a little bit before I'm sitting there and I'm just gonna go on the date and then I'm gonna fuck you. I mean, first off, I don't do that in the first place, but there are people out there that do that, and that's fine. But I would like to get to know you at least a little bit before you stick the P in the V, because I don't know where that thing's been. And
But is it really more than what it used to be? Or do you think that it just got so popular that they felt like they had to go a little more mainstream to make it seem a little more PC?
I think the app hasn't actually really changed all that much. It's just, I mean, there's still no like content filters or anything. You can send whatever you want in a message, I'm pretty sure, right?
yeah,
So
it's
like I'm still getting like random dick pics on like just you match with someone on Tinder, next
me
thing you
too,
know,
so
it's just
weird.
like,
no Tinder. I don't think you can send any photos.
oh, okay.
I don't think you can send photos on Tinder, but I've actually used Tinder to meet people. Like I've met some of my like really good friends through Tinder, like no sexual
Again,
things
like,
involved.
It's a different world, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So like when I went on my honeymoon, like I just connected with people on Tinder, and like they showed us like things to go do and like
So
bars
that
to
would
go
be-
to. And
That
it,
would be the evolution then right there.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's not just for the one night stand anymore, because you're meeting people that you would actually befriend and
Yeah,
hang out with. and go
exactly.
out.
And
Maybe they-
And it was cool because people were like, "Oh, you're on Tinder," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've met cool people." I was like, when I went to New Orleans, I, swiped right to some people who sounded and looked cool. Not necessarily that I was attracted to them, but they just seemed like cool fucking people to hang out with, and they were. And then they would tell us like cool things to go to, and we met at this one bar, and he was actually like leading a bike tour with some locals, and they were just going biking around the city, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, go to these places and these places," and we had a drink with him. And a couple other people like that around New Orleans. And it was great. I mean, I've met people on there who like we might necessarily be attracted to each other, like even when we meet, but like we become really good friends. Or just situations happen where we just become friends instead. And I mean, I don't yet use it for hookups. I don't personally do that, but I mean, if there's a cute guy on there, then whatever. Well, I still would like to get to know him rather than just being like,
Yeah.
swipe, let's fuck.
Okay,
But there
so-
are people out there that do that still.
So the picture that you see on Tinder,
Mhm.
how closely is that
Oh.
to the person that you meet the majority of the time? Would you say 80% of the time you're meeting the person in the picture? Would you say 40? Because I have a fairly good friend of mine that I'm not going to name, but you know who you are. Phil, you know who he is too. Jason, you also know who he is. And he might be a little chubbier now than in his picture. Like, he plays a lot of softball, and maybe when it was softball season, he's like, this is the perfect time. I'm going to take this skinny picture. And then there's the chubby meet.
Then there's the off season.
Yeah. Well, then you meet I'm like, he showed me his Tinder app. He goes, because he was showing me all the girls he's swiping left and right. And then he shows me and I'm like, who's the guy? And he's like, that's me. I'm like, can you blow this picture up? That does not look anything like you. And he's like, well, once you meet the girl, I'm like, is there not that immediate, like,
No.
really?
Oh, that's catfishing. That is catfishing.
That's exactly what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So for the most part, yes. I mean, there's been a few times. I would say at least 80% for me.
Looks like the picture.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Mhm.
And so and for me, I post so many pictures with me with different color hair and different color haircuts that, like,
Right.
obviously it's not me right now, but it will still be the same version of me,
Yeah.
That's my problem too, is because I'll go from having super long hair to super short hair, and I won't pay attention to it. And I'll be like, if somebody messages me, I'm like, that picture so is not accurate anymore. And
Well, I
so then
try to switch it
I'm
up, too.
afraid to meet some of those people because I'm like, my hair is down to the middle of my back, and that's kind of a thing. Is like, if you into guys with long hair and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then you show up and it looks like you got a buzz cut or something, and you're like, what?
Well, I try to update my pictures too to where it is fairly me. Plus, if you have the same pictures on there forever, you're just like, they need to be changed. I've done fun things since then, and
So let's go with app of choice, Tinder.
I actually like this app called Field, which is like for swingers and kinksters. And it's just for like, there's people who are like couples, or just it tells people like their like your kinks and stuff like that, and it's just straight up for you. And actually, again, I've met probably the coolest people on that app, just friends. But however, the app itself is horribly made.
Wait, no free advertisement.
Yeah.
I use it for the content, but the platform is
platform
horrible.
is the worst platform, because I'll put my filter at like 50 miles to meet somebody, and I met somebody who lived in LA, and I was like, have you been to Nashville at all? And he's like, no, but I actually am moving to Nashville. And I was like, oh, well,
see, I've seen that too, though. There are people that will change their location because of where they're going to.
Nope. It still said 700 and something miles away.
Well, side boob. App of choice.
Yeah. I really want there to be like a good queer app, because I think it's really hard to do Tinder unless I set my profile to all women, because it ends up just being like, it's just a lot of shady dudes that like send me creepy things, and I'm like, I don't really need to do this. I like Bumble because it's women first, but then I also don't like Bumble because like then I have to do it first.
Yeah. I was gonna say Bumble is definitely a little bit more
I don't understand.
sweeter.
Red light, explain.
Oh
You have to
yeah.
do it first.
So
what
on
does that
Bumble,
mean?
sorry, I see now. On Bumble, like the woman has to message first, which I already have a little bit of a
So if
problem
you connect,
with,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like,
So if you
what are we
connect,
doing first?
Oh,
so
and
if
then-
you have your profile set to like only women and you are a woman, it's just like whoever was the last one to swipe or the first one to swipe, I'm not sure which, is the one who has to message first.
Gotcha.
And then you lose your opportunity after 24 hours. First of all, am I always like that busy on Bumble that I'm like, I have this 24-hour window, like better message this like, no, I'm not that invested. But my personal favorite is probably Her, which is specifically I think it's marketed as a lesbian dating app. But that one was really cool. I think I met the coolest people on Her and like made most of my friends on Her. But I have to say, the general level of attractiveness on like that app versus Tinder is crazy different.
Yeah.
Like I met
Good or
so
bad,
many,
yeah.
no, I met like so many more attractive women on Tinder. Like I was swiping through Her like for so long until I was like, somebody to swipe right, but it was there's like a lot less people on it in general too.
So the platform is smaller.
There's all of 7 lesbians.
So you should actually try Field because it has like polyamorous people, and it has like where you can. It's a little bit more specific on your needs. However, if you go to chat with this person and you chat 2 messages in a row, it will lag. So you have to go out of the message, come back in. So if like you connect with a person, I would just recommend talking to them on a different platform because it lags and then the filters are all off. But
same with her one. Like I matched with this girl one time and we were talking for like several weeks and I was on vacation, so I wasn't like able to meet up, so we never got to the place of like, where do you want to go, like when do you want to meet up, and so we were just talking for like at least a month, and then I found out that she lived in Washington and I was like, fuck. Yeah, we still talk though. She lives in France now. She's pretty cool.
Oh, well, at least you have a place to go in France.
She's in France though, so
well, if you visit France, maybe she'll let you stay.
Let you know next time in France.
Yeah. Not anytime soon, I can imagine.
Well, you're planning on maybe going to Germany, unless you guys love our page and like and subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, so we don't have to send Side Boob to Germany. So we want her to stay. Yeah, so we can all quit our jobs.
Yeah.
So are you even on any dating apps, Heine?
Of course. I think everybody is at this point.
So which one is your favorite?
I've got to go with Plenty of Fish, which inspired the drink.
That's true. So explain Plenty of Fish, because me and Side Boob, we don't know this one as well.
I was very surprised at that too. I thought it was a fairly large platform.
I've heard of it, but I just never.
So I was on the road with a friend of mine. We'll call him White Lightning because that's what he calls himself in my phone. So a friend of mine's from Northern California, and I worked in Southern California, and he came down and he was working with us for a while, and I would hang out with him all the time, and he was constantly on his phone, and I'm like, well, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm seeing what kind of fish are out there. And I'm like, I don't understand. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so he would explain to me, it's the same idea. You're going to swipe left, swipe right, but you can also have a proximity on Plenty of Fish, that you can go to a proximity and it'll show you thumbnails, probably like 25 in a page, and you can scroll.
So you can look through an entire list of matches instead of like you get one page at a time.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
And so he would go through and see a proximity, and I kind of was like, wasn't, again, being a little older than everybody else, I kind of blew it off. Well, me and this guy ended up getting put on the road, and I had just gotten a DUI, so I couldn't drive. And so now this guy's driving me around everywhere. And so I'm like, I need something to do. And he's like, well, why don't you just get the Plenty of Fish? And I'm like, that's a great idea. So he's given me a tutorial because he's younger. He just turned 30. And he's given me a tutorial because this is what you do. And this is what he goes, how did he put it? I can't remember exactly what he said. He goes, you just put 2 sentences to someone that's in the area. And he was like, he floods them. He finds like 50 girls and sends them these 2 sentences and see how he gets responses.
What are the 2 sentences?
I can't remember what he said now. This is
White Lightning. Please comment what the 2 sentences are on Plenty of Fish.
But ladies, and it was pretty much.
Let us know if it works.
Yeah, and it pretty much was just for one night stands all the time. And so, as I was getting used to the app, the funny thing is, I have an older relative who she was talking about it was hard to meet people. And I was like, well, there's this Plenty of Fish app.
Is it just for friends? Or, I mean,
no,
it's just for
it's
dating,
hookups.
but it's for everything?
It's for, I would say it's for hookups, but I know people that have met friends on there. I think that it's kind of unavoidable. You meet somebody that you like, and then you kind of get along with them, and then you get that vibe whether you're going to be friends with them or not. I think it's a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely met more people that I would... Honestly, I've met more people that I would be friends with than I would connect with, just because I'm fairly transient and I have some... It's difficult to be in a relationship with a guy that's on the road all the time. And I've dealt with it, and actually you hooked me up with a psycho one time, and it would be...
And so
Your life is your choice.
No,
I did
no.
not hook you up. You just met her around
But-
me, and she was
but
fucking crazy.
G-String, our photographer, will tell you that she can clean the hell out of a house. Him,
and a cock.
yeah, well, she definitely can clean the hell out of a cock. Fucking G-String and the drummer in my band at
She
the
was
time
fucking crazy. God.
came over to my house, and there was a golf ball in a
Champagne flute.
champagne flute. They took the golf ball out. The golf ball was clean, and inside the champagne flute was clean. That's how she cleaned my house.
Wow.
It was amazing. And
so you were
so,
dating this woman and she was cleaning your house?
absolutely.
For money?
And when we broke up, the band is like, "Your house is filthy." I'm like, "Well," they're like, "Well, then why don't you just date her so she'll clean your house?"
Because
And
that's
No.
not okay.
No.
I did not do that. I
And-
did not do that.
And she was batshit crazy.
But I also paid her to clean my house. I did not.
Good.
This is
in cock.
right. No, because she also had a slew of kids to take care of. So
Oh man,
In the long
I don't
run-
even remember how that connection happened. Was it a
we were
party?
just at the. Oh, you know what? I remember exactly. UFC 100, the Brick House, something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was pretty much a huge sports bar,
Okay.
and she was with you, and she was like, you were like, "This is my friend."
I mean, this
Heiny,
was
blah, blah,
this was
blah.
a long
time
time
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
This is like probably your first year or two we even met.
But if you're out there, we could use some cleaning. Either kind too. But I would go to work. I would go to work, and she's like, "Oh, I'm fine with you being on the road," and then I would come home, and then it was like as soon as I would get ready to go, and she's like, "We're breaking up." I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I don't really care." And then as soon as I get ready to come home, she would call me and be like, "Well, what are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. All right,
It's always best when the crazy ones break up with you
Right.
instead of you break up with them because you never know how that's gonna go.
Yeah. All right, so back to the dating app.
Okay, so Plenty of Fish. So I mean, I feel like that's all dating apps now. That it's kind of like a social media platform with a little sexual undertone to it now. I mean,
I think it's your out too, though. I mean, I think it's kind of like there are a bunch of people that you're not necessarily physically attracted to that you would just get along with.
yeah.
And it's also a nice way to sort of let somebody down if you're not interested. You're like, oh.
Well, and I think I'd rather do that and meet, like, first off, I just can go to a bar or anywhere and just talk to people and meet people and become friends with people. But,
No.
but like, I know there are people out there that do have a hard time doing that, but I'd much rather go on a dating app or some kind of platform like that rather than going on, like, Facebook or Instagram and just being like, yeah, or Craigslist. There are like, but there are like fun groups like girls meeting groups and stuff like that. Like if you're new in town and stuff like that, or you've had a hard time meeting people. That I understand. But if you just post a post that says, "Hey, need friends," I'm just like,
that sounds needy.
I've seen some, and I'm just like, there are groups on Facebook that you can join and just be like, hey, I want to hang out. I want to go to this group or this meeting with you or whatever. Don't post it. But and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone out there. However, there are different ways to do it to where you
maybe
don't
you're
have
just
to do
giving-
that, and people don't have to
Right.
read it,
You're
and
just
you don't
giving
have
them
to
a little
look.
advice.
Yeah, and you don't have to look so desperate. Because I mean, I've been there because when I first moved to San Diego, I lived there for 3 months, and like I said, I don't know a stranger, and people were just fucking rude to me. I met this girl from Texas.
Really? San Diego?
Yeah, I met this girl from Texas, and I was like, finally, I found somebody that I can bond with because I'm from Texas as well. And she was like, I took a class to get rid of my accent. And I was like, how much do you hate yourself that you have to take a class to get rid of your accent? I just lived there
That's
for
a very-
a year, and I got rid of my accent. And I was like,
I want to say that's kind of a very California thing too.
oh, she
There's
was
a lot
a
of people
cunt.
that
Yeah. And I would meet people like that, or just I wouldn't meet anybody that I just like clicked with, and it was so hard. And finally, I met these two chicks, Naomi and Gwen. I missed you if you're listening to this. Message me. And so I met them, and we every Sunday we would watch San Diego Chargers lose. I think they won one game that season. It was the year before Phillip Rivers. And we would wake up and we'd start watching at 9 o'clock in the morning because like that's when the games start in San Diego.
10 o'clock.
Well now they do. I think they used to start at 9.
It's always been 10 o'clock.
I think you're lying. I lived there years before you.
Right, but it's always
I
been
could
1
be
and
wrong.
4. It's always been 1 and 4. Translate that to 10 and 1.
Anyways.
Oh, and the reason I keep moving around and looking around because it's going to be distracting a little bit. We had an audio problem on one of our podcasts. I'm making sure that everything is correct. So if everybody's wondering why I keep avoiding,
Yeah, we don't want it to sound
Okay.
distorted because that last half or the last few minutes of the first one, we're trying to avoid that, and I think we're getting better with our dialogue as well. And
we're learning.
Yeah, and please tell us what we can improve on in our messages. Don't just post mean things in public. You can just give us
Well,
suggestions.
If you do, we'll call you out by name.
That's right. If your name isn't already posted on your post.
At I hate
We'll let the public know too.
Yeah.
at I hate Heine.
Yeah, we're just gonna
What?
we're gonna start a page for you, like who is trolling on Let's Talk Booze, and then we're just gonna come up with a fake picture for you.
Because I don't think I need any more abuse. I think I get plenty.
Well, I've known you for years, and I know the real you, so I can.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Booty, 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 dinner booty, expensive booty, cheap booty, buffet booty, hot booty, cold